Is a request, which we're not going to take any action, a request from the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores for a petition for inclusion of the additional territory within the Grace Harbor Conservation District. And let me speak to why that we're talking about this. One of the things that we constantly look at is to find solutions on major issues that we have. And one of our major issues is the Whitehead Ditch, the fresh waterways, erosion. I was at a meeting where there was a discussion of the Conservation District, and I didn't even know what the Conservation District was until I was at this meeting. With it, when they started talking about grant possibilities and what they've done on other rivers, streams, and that pretty much every other city that is in Grace Harbor is a member of the Conservation District, with Aberdeen hopefully just joining. So one of the things that is always a challenge is to find experts that can help us solve our issues. That we do not have on staff a team that is focused on erosion, focused on how to fix the fresh waterways. So here was an opportunity for us to partner with another organization. This is not an irrigation system, it's an irrigation district. This is a conservation. There's a difference because irrigation system does have taxing authority. This group does, that you could make the argument there is a potential taxing authority down the road. Right now there is no taxes that are in any of the cities or county. The county is also a member of it. There is always the possibility that our county commissioners can levy a tax, which is always a concern. But just as we as the council, if you decide to go to adopt it, you can as easily unadopt it. You can leave the system at any time. You're shaking your head, Catherine? You don't agree?
Go on.
Okay. So, personally, from a mayor's point of view, this gives us another source to go after grants, another source to look for experts. Now, I totally understand that there are concerns that people have about whatever the district is. I personally am in no hurry to do anything with this. If you, as a council, decide that this is not worth our while to look at potential of outside sources that can help us on some of the issues that we have, no problem. And the Conservation District has no problem of walking away and do the work of what they're doing in other places. Westport is one of the cities that doesn't, and actually was a little bit irritated that we jumped ahead of them because we were a little bit aggressive, and maybe too aggressive. One of the things that they can give us, as we just saw as the erosion issue that we had, that they have experts that have dealt with that, and not only is it a city opportunity, individual landowners can utilize the Conservation District to, number one, help on what their solutions are, but also in many cases, the Conservation District can find funding, so the match that the individual landowner cannot afford, they will pay. The Conservation District has committed to me if we want to bring them back and have a meeting to ask any questions. The leadership there has been willing to answer any phone calls that they invited, and I personally invited people to go to the Aberdeen Hoquiam meeting where they had asked the questions. We posted the video of it so people could look at that. And again, this was an opportunity that I saw as to get additional resources, help us on funding some of the issues we have without creating any additional taxes for the citizens. But if the council feels that we should not move forward on this, I'm fine walking away with it. Now, it just, as I charge Sarah constantly to look at what are grant fundings out there, how can we end up getting money for things that need to be done, and this is just another tool in our tool belt. So again, that is kind of where the position is. There's plenty, if you go to their website, you look at their YouTube, they've done some pretty incredible projects. I believe Hoquiam and Aberdeen both voted unanimously to do that. There's a question on whether or not we need to have a vote of the people to do that. That is if you're going to create a new conservation district. This is that we are going to join, so it doesn't apply. I already talked about the taxing issue, and if you just go to the YouTube and look at some of the incredible projects that they've done, it is pretty amazing of what they have. And every city that I talked to that has been part of it has not had an issue. So with that, I'll open up for public comment. Public comment? Jane, are you going to talk the same thing that you already talked about?
I have points and other things that I did not address in my other.
Okay, come on.
Jane Shattuck. I had something similar done to it, but I just wanted to point out there is an RCW that addresses that special tax assessment that can be imposed at any time, and if anybody wants it, it's RCW 89-08-400. And no, they haven't at the time, but yes, it can be imposed at any time. You say you're not in a rush, Mayor, but then why did it just get presented to us 3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it's put on the agenda for action to be taken on? My biggest concern, once again, is just that I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. We just all should be able to ask questions and do our due diligence. As with any city project, you always ask for financials, reports, projects done, things like that. Would like to look at all of it. I also want to, put in there, as far as the RCW goes, it does not say that only if you're forming a new one. It says if you're added to one, and I can provide you with that RCW for including other properties in there. The other one thing that concerns me is when the Conservation District was here, the representative, they were asked to provide financial reports. They said they would do that, but a red flag statement was we'll produce them, but you probably won't understand them. And as far as I understand, those financial reports still have not been provided. So just once again, I want to reiterate, just more questions need to be answered, and we need more time to do that and not rush into anything. Thank you.
Do I have more public comment? Lillian? Yes.
Okay, later the evening. I would hope that you would reiterate that joining this conservation district doesn't obligate us to additional taxes, or at least it hasn't yet. If you look at the conservation districts around the county, around the state, you'll see that they have been able to form together with cities and do some amazing things. And I would suggest that we take a look at this. I understand the fear, I don't understand the fear, because if you read it, it's unlikely that it becomes a taxing district. If it did, we would all have to do more than just opt in, I believe. Now, I could be wrong on that, but has this conservation district ever levied a tax on the people in Grace Harbor County? No. Is it likely to in the future? No. I understand the concern of some people, but it's kind of like the last thing. We had a lot of angst over something that's been in place for over 40 years. So I think that some of us need to do a little more research on some of these items. Thank you.
Do you have more public comment? Yes.
Gina Rawlings, not a resident. Thurston County has levied an assessment to the conservation district. And that's a possibility that it could happen here. I think that it would behoove everyone to take a little bit more time to check this out. Thank you.
Do we have more public comment? I'm seeing them. Before I turn it to council, let me just answer. The reason why it's here tonight, because you as a council asked me to bring it back. You know, I'm not in a hurry, and if the council wants to change our process of putting things there, that whatever we need to do, that we can do that. That they are more than willing to host a meeting, and again, I'm not in a hurry. That the tax, we're not Thurston County, we're Grace Harbor, and it's the county commissioners that are going to make that decision. I don't think that currently our current county commissioners are going to be levying taxes with it. But as I said originally, that as easily as the council can vote to put us in, they can vote to take us out. And if there was, if I was going to bring something to you and there was going to be a tax tie, I wouldn't bring it to you. I mean, there isn't any reason why I would want to create a taxing district. I just was at a meeting, we went through, I talked to other cities of what they're doing and what the resources they are getting. I mean, like, they're working on erosion in Aberdeen and Hopeland with it. And so anytime I see an opportunity to get additional resources for Ocean Shores, I'm going to ask it. But again, I am not in a hurry. I only brought it back to this meeting because the council had asked me. I'm not in for the taxes. So with that, I'll open it up to council questions. Rich.
Okay, so I've got smart people on the other side as well, and I'd like to ask some questions. So I've read everything I think I can read. You're right, the county commissioners are the ones that decide whether or not there is or is not a tax. Number two, 10 cents an acre or $5 per parcel. That's what I've learned is the maximum that someone can tax. We can get out of it by city council decision, or if city council loves it, citizens can have a petition to get out of it if we needed to. Sarah seems to be very supportive. She feels that they will help her. I wish I could tell you I have a strong opinion one way or another, but what I'd like to know is what am I missing here? Because as much as I hate taxes, I do trust my county commissioners that are sitting right now not to impose this $5 a year tax on a parcel. Don't know about future commissioners, but what am I missing, folks, that you have read that I have not?
So, I'm not seeing anything, you know, and I just think, you know, rushing into this, or the perception of rushing into this, from my perspective, this is an organization that has been around for quite a while, has been doing this for quite a while, has been doing it with quite a few cities for quite a while, and any single person can do their own due diligence and look it up. When they were here, you can call them, you can talk to them, you can talk to the cities. So as far, if this was a new thing that was being introduced, I would understand the rushing into it. But this is an organization that has been doing amazing things for a very long time without taxing anybody. And for us, because of who we are with our waterways, with our erosion, with everything that's going on, it only makes sense to partner with these guys. So I don't see anything that you're missing, because that's what I saw too.
Richard.
So first I'd say that we have an amazing grant writer, and Sarah Bisson has brought in close to $8 million in grant funding to this community. But she's one person. And this conservation district group is a group of people so multiply one person by that whole group. And everything that Erica said and everything that Richard said, I see no downside in this. And Mayor, I slightly disagree with you that there's no hurry. I can think of a house over where Pat Brunstead lives, and I don't remember the name of that court. But this, is that Mariners Court? That court absolutely qualifies for this conservation district. And in a conversation with Pat Brunstad, that property that he's concerned about and tried to protect and was not able to, that property could be eroded away this winter in the storms. And so if this was approved and that property owner got their grant approved, we could start construction on mitigating the erosion in Mariners Court. I see no downside. I think that it's also probably worthwhile to bring that group back, but they had an amazing presentation at the last time, and I don't know what else they could add to that.
Lisa?
I actually don't have any issues whatsoever, having sat through this a few times. But I would appreciate maybe if they're willing to come back at the next council meeting, just to ask some questions. I know I don't really have any because it's pretty straightforward and I support this, but maybe it would be beneficial. That way some specific questions could be asked.
Right.
So under RCW 89.08.180, annexation of territory, boundary change, and combining two or more districts, it states here, territory may be added to an existing district upon filing a petition, as in the case of formation with the commission by 20% of the voters of the affected area to be included. The same procedure shall be followed as for a creation of a new district. So I'm curious how we can vote for this and pull in our city when right here in the RCW it says that the voters have to be involved in it and they have to file a petition.
Was that for dissolution?
No.
But Grace Harbor's the district,
Yes.
so it already exists. It's not
Right,
new.
but we're a territory if we're not in it now.
We're in the Grace Harbor district.
Right.
So it's not a separate district, it is the district.
Right, that's why it says the territory added to the district.
Okay. I think that we're, again, we're not going to take any action.
I would like that explained.
Okay, they have the explanation, we've run it by our attorney, and it doesn't apply to what we're doing. But we will bring them, and that was the question that was also asked at the last meeting, but that's fine. So any other, Rich?
So if we do have those folks back from the district, could we set the meeting in a way to where they could answer questions directly to the audience rather than just listening to the questions?
My proposal would be, and again, it's the direction of whatever the council wants to do. My proposal is I would bring them back. We would have city chats, and they do what they did in Aberdeen, Hoquiam. They'll bring the staff and explain what they are, answer all their questions with it. So that would be mine. And then I personally will not be I won't put it on the agenda until the council says that they want to have it on the agenda. Catherine?
I also have a number of questions, and I'm glad you're open to bringing it to a meeting where the public can ask questions, because they have questions. Here's a couple that have been asked of me that I can't answer. Can a citizen opt out if they're in the
The answer is no.
So the citizens cannot opt out. They don't have
Citizens
control.
cannot opt out an individual piece of property. They can elect not to use the conservation district, but it's just like you cannot opt out of the school district.
Right. So that's one of the questions, and that's one of the questions that people are going to want to ask, not only me. There's nothing to say that future county commissioners won't add. I also think $5 a year is pretty paltry. It's about the cost of a latte, but not anymore. But they've got a number of projects that they could be looking to us to help. I'm thinking about the Chehalis Basin River project, which is a huge project, would not directly benefit us. But I want to address what you said about withdrawing
from the district. First off, maybe we can opt out, but I've never seen us undo anything that we've decided because we forget about it and it's on the books and we don't go back and we don't look at our codes. But here's RCW 8908185. The local governing body, that's us, of the city or incorporated town within an existing district may approve by majority of vote a petition to withdraw from the district. However, the petition shall be submitted to the district for its approval. If approved by the district, the petition shall be sent to the commission. That's the state commission. The commission shall approve the petition and forward it to the Secretary of State, and the boundary of district shall be adjusted, or they cannot approve it and would have to adopt a resolution specifying the reasons why the petition is not approved. So I'm just saying, it's not, we want our money back, we're opting out. It is a process, and it's more onerous than getting in and paying our $5. And I'm back to, we didn't get the financial summary I asked for. I don't want a 20-page budget. I want to know what they're bringing in for revenues and what they're spending for expenses and how much they're spending on wages. They said they had 23 people. If they're spending 90% of their grant money on their own expenses, that doesn't leave a lot left over.
I think you're making a lot of stuff up. I mean, I think you're just randomly saying things that you don't know. Why don't you give them the opportunity to come and talk about it?
And that's
instead of saying things like 90% of their wages, 90% of their expenses are going to wages, which.
Because I didn't see the financial summary, and I said if that's the case. We know of districts that have been locked up.
Okay.
Directors have been locked up for mismanagement. So let's bring them back. Let's do it at a public hearing or do it in a town hall or a city chat, not in the middle of a city council meeting where the public cannot ask their questions. We cannot answer them.
And just, Catherine, to add to it, if I think he said $1 million was what they had in their budget, I would guess a vast majority of that were employees in their office overhead, because they eat what they kill. They get a piece of what it is they go out and get back. So I would say, yeah, it's probably 90%. I don't know the number, but it's a big portion of their budget, because the other $10 million goes to projects and their $1 million goes to run the whole operation. So it's a commission type thing.
Right.
Okay, so I look at it like, yeah, it's $5 today, but further down the road it can be more money. And there's in RCW 8908.400, special assessment, the conservation district comes up with the assessment, that a special assessment to be collected. So that is in here. And I don't know what happened in Thurston County, but I know that they're paying more than $5.
But not to go over the $5. Can't be above $5.
Now, anything could be changed, Rich.
Well, sure.
Okay, so that's my point. All right, so that's why I'm not in favor of it.
All right. Council, could you should I move forward or should I just end it?
Move forward.
Move forward.
Okay, all right, so we will set up some type of a meeting with them, we'll find out what's available, and then council, you can let me know after that meeting whether or not you want to do anything with it.
I just have one procedure question. If we, the council, wanted you to bring this back at the next council meeting, we, the council, could then open that discussion to the public instead of having a separate chat meeting that's a month from now. I keep thinking about the Mariner Court property and how timely that decision would bear on Mariner Court.
I just think the energy we have in this room, I think it's more important that we just get it right before we rush whatever.
And I'm okay with that.
Okay, so I will, they normally would have been here, but they were in training in Leavenworth, so that's why they're not here. So we will send email and get in contact. They're great people, so we'll get on the schedule and we'll get it as soon as possible. And then I'm hoping the council goes to that and asks whatever the questions are, and we'll move forward. Yes.
If it turns out that scheduling a city chat, is it possible that we could have them at our council meeting under discussion and have a back and forth with questions?
You can just do a public meeting.
Well, what we could do is do a study session before a council meeting
Okay, thank you.
with it. So we'll look at that. So again, I'm fine, whether we want to go, but again, we have a lot of things that we just need to deal with, and we need to find resources to do that. So, okay, so with that, anything else before we leave on that one? Okay, council, are you still good?